Chatterino is a Twitch chat client for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. It's got lots of features, and it supports BTTV emotes as well as FFZ emote, and there's even an extension for Chrome and Firefox. In this video, we'll be having a look at Chatterino, how to install it, how to set it up, and how to use some of its features. To get started, we'll simply go to chatterino.com. This is the website, and I'll have a link in the description below. As you can see, this is what it looks like. You can download it directly from hitting that button. You can look at the features that it has, as well as alternative download. There's also a Windows portable version and nightly builds. You can also download older versions and look at the wiki. We will simply go to download Chatterino. I've already got it installed, well, downloaded. So I will go to my downloads where I have it, and I will run through the installation. For some reason, this is going to bring up a Windows Defender dialog box stating that Windows doesn't recognize this application. Simply hit more information to run anyway. We'll click next on this window. And I don't need this installed, so I'll uncheck that. And you can also create a shortcut on your desktop. Once installed, we'll say launch Chatterino. And the first thing we're going to need to do is create or log into our Twitch account. So we can do this by clicking anonymous and manage accounts. You don't need to add your account, but if you're a streamer, you're going to want to do that. So we'll go to add and log in. It will open up a tab in our browser, and we're going to say log in, and we're going to be given this string of text. Let me get Chatterino out of the way. We'll copy that text, and we'll say paste login info, and there goes my account. I'll hit OK on that, and we're good to go. Now we see my username here in Chatterino. You can also go back and switch accounts as well. Let's look at adding Twitch channels. So the first thing we'll do, well, let me get rid of this window so we don't have distractions. We'll click add a split, and we can add a couple of things here. We can add a channel by channel name. We can use this split for our whispers, mentions, and watching. This is for the browser extension, or live. So we can use this to show when channels go live. We'll just add a channel. We'll just add XQC, for example. When we do that, we now see all of the chat messages popping up in XQC's chat at the current moment. And if we click this button here, we can see the viewer list. Down here, obviously, we can start chatting. And if we clicked on this little smiley face here, we get a window that shows the emote menu. We give it some time to load, and we can see our sub emotes, the channel emotes for XQC. We see his better TTV emotes, his FFZ emotes. We see our global Twitch emotes here, and emojis. We'll close this. You can also rename this tab here. Notice that it's got the default tab name of the user or the channel. We can rename it to anything we want. So I'll just call it XQC. And there we go. If we click this plus sign, we can add another tab. We can add another split. So I will click on add split, and I'll add another channel. And now we have another channel we can switch between. And if we use the scroll wheel, we can also alternate between channels. I'll close this tab and add a split. And we can do this by hitting Control Alt. And I'll hit this button down here. And what this does is it creates another tab within our tab where we can, once again, choose a channel, use this for our mentions, our whispers, our watching, and whatever. I will add that channel here, and now I have 2 channels in one tab. Let me resize this so I can see the chat better. And so this is a way in which you can have multiple chats open at the same time. I'm going to close this by clicking on these 3 dots here. And we'll say close. And now we return back to a single chat tab window. I want to show you how to create filters for your splits. This is very useful if you're a moderator or you just want to focus on specific terms or emotes or whatever. So we'll go down to filters and we'll create a filter. And then what I'll do is I'll add filter, and I'll just give it the name of the filter that I want. So we'll filter out omega low, for example. And we'll say we want to do variable message text that contains the message omega low. Now I'll hit OK. And I'll once again do Control Alt, add a split. And in this one, I will add XQC yet again. And this time, what I'll do is I'll apply my filter. So we'll go to the 3 dots menu here, say Set Filters, and apply the omega low filter. And now, down here, we will only see messages that have omega low in it. So that's how filters work. I'll close this yet again. And now let's have a look at Chatterino Settings. If we go to the cog at the top here, click it, and we see various options. We'll start from the top by going to General Options. We have theme options, so we can choose the dark theme, the black theme. We'll move the chat over here so you can see what things are looking like. You can choose the light theme. This is what the light theme looks like. The white theme. We can change the font. Choose the font that you want here under your system fonts. You can set the typeface, font size, so if you want the fonts to be bigger. Doesn't seem to be a way to go beyond the 20 pixels. It just stays at whatever is listed here. So we'll go to 16, for example. We can choose zoom. You can zoom in. This will change the zoom of the Chatterino. This is good if you would like to display Chatterino on your stream, so you don't have to resize the window in OBS, for example. You can choose the tab layout. So for example, right now we have it horizontal, but you could change it to vertical and you'd see a list of your channels there. You can choose to have Chatterino always on top. This is actually quite useful because what I like to do is just place Chatterino. If I'm not using the browser extension, I'll just place Chatterino over the Twitch chat in the browser just to keep it on top that way. So that's really nice. You can choose to start Chatterino when Windows start. This is useful if you're a Twitch-holic. You can show which channels are live. This is noted with the little red dot here at the top right of a channel. When you see that little red dot, you know that the channel is live. You can choose to disable that if you don't want it though. Under chat settings, we can pause on mouse over. This is currently disabled by default. You can enable this and set the time of seconds in which to enable. Pause while holding a key, you can set that. Mouse wheel scroll speed. Smooth scrolling, which is one of my favorites. This makes one of the reasons why I really like Chatterino. Show input when it's empty. Show message links by typing. We can show that. Enable sending duplicate messages. We have message, so we can show alternate lines. I like this a lot. Or alternate backgrounds, which is makes chat a little easier to read. Highlight messages. redeem with points. And when you see highlighted messages, you will notice these little indicators on the right side. And if you click on it or bring your chat to it, for example, we're seeing highlighted messages here with these purple dots next to the chat. These are all highlighted messages. We can choose to display timestamps, and we can choose what format the time should be, for example. You can choose to disable this if you don't want it. We can choose to display a line under the most recent messages when switching applications. This is useful. And we have emote options here. Let's go down and scroll to that. We can enable emotes. We can enable animated emotes. Animate emotes only when Chatterino is in focus. We can change the size. So if you want to see bigger emotes, there you go. We can remove spaces from emotes. And we can choose to show info over hover or disable that. We can also choose to emoji style, whether we want to use Twitter, Facebook, Apple, or Google's emoji set. We have streamer mode options for hiding user card avatars, using link or hiding links, thumbnails, hide viewer count, mute mention sounds. So as you can see, there's many options here. Link previews, you can enable or disable that. Receive beta updates, browser integration, we'll look at that later. And location of your app data in cache, which is useful when migrating, and we'll be doing that later. In advanced, we can check uptime. So notice that we now see the uptime here. We can turn that off. We can check uptime, view counts, category, title, and all of that will be displayed up here. Although if you check all of it, it gets a little busy. I'll uncheck title. And as you can see, we have even more options here. This is just under general settings. Visible badges, so you can choose which badges to display, and misc options. Restart on crash, show moderator messages, show deletions of single messages, bold usernames, colored usernames. So you can just go through this and check and uncheck which options you want. I won't go through all of them because there's just so many. Let's look at accounts again. Again, you can add or remove accounts. You can nickname users in chat. You can add commands, custom command, highlight messages. So you can add highlighted messages if you would like. So for example, I'm going to add a custom highlight message. Again, we'll use Omegaload as an example. And we can choose to show in mentions, flash the taskbar, play sound. We can do whatever we want. What I like to do is change the color. So let's change the color. So whenever this emote is used, it'll be highlighted. As you can see now, all the Omegaload messages are being highlighted in blue. By default, we're going to have our highlight messages for our username, our whispers, our subscriptions, and highlight for redeemed channel points. Users, so we can highlight users, badges, and blacklisted users. We'll remove this. We can add ignores, so we can ignore messages that contain certain patterns. We can ignore users. Create filters like we did earlier. We can change the key binding. There's various keyboard shortcuts that you can change. There's moderator options. So you have log options, moderator buttons. So you can add commands. And when you click on a user in a channel that you moderate, let me get that other channel that I moderate for. We'll add that channel. And when you click on a user, it brings up a window in which you can see various options. For example, timeouts, unban, and ban. You can see all of their messages and so forth. And these buttons, you can edit them here under moderator buttons. I'll remove that one. You can also set the timeout options for the button. So You have 1 second, 30 seconds, a minute, and so forth. Live notifications. So you can choose, for example, I would say XQC. So when XQC goes live, I'll get a notification. We can choose to flash the taskbar, play a sound for selected channels, play sound for any channel going live, or show notification. So next time XQC goes live, we will get a notification in Chatterino. We have external tools such as Stream Link, Custom Stream Player, and Image Uploader. I won't go too deep into this since I don't use these features that often, and they're a little bit more advanced, but just know that you have options for that too. And all of these options are documented on the website as well. So if you have any issues with, say, filters or whatever, you can go to the wiki and all of that information will be available to you. I will post a link for the wiki as well in the description below. Next, we'll look at migrating. If you're not using the portable version of Chatterino and you want to move your settings for Chatterino to another computer or copy it to another computer, all you have to do is go to AppData, Roaming, and look for Chatterino 2. All of your settings and data for Chatterino is in this folder. So what I'll do is I'll copy it and go to my virtual machine here, and I'll simply copy those files to this instance under AppData, Roaming, and I'll go to Chatterino 2, and I'll close this so that we don't get any errors. And I'll just copy everything from my main instance of Chatterino to this instance. And this is just to show you how easy it is to copy all of your settings over from another computer. This is if you're not using the portable version of Chatterino, of course. Once the files have been copied, I'll simply open up Chatterino once again. And this time, all of the settings from my main system have been brought over. I've got all my channels and all of my settings that were from my main instance is brought up here. And that's migrating your previous instance of Chatterino to another computer. Let's have a look at the Chatterino browser extension. And what this will do is it will completely replace the chat window with Chatterino itself. If we go and search for the Chatterino native host, this is available for Chrome and Firefox. And we'll say add to Firefox in this case. And there it is. And again, it's going to replace the Twitch chat. Now, Chatterino needs to be open for this to work. So I'll just minimize it. And as you can see, Chatterino has been completely embedded in the chat window with all of our options, such as the font size and so forth, enabled. If you don't want this, you can uncheck this and you will have to refresh your browser. So if you want to disable it for a second, and the regular chat window will be brought back. It's as simple as that. So I will go ahead and replace this again, refresh, and Chatterino is back. If we go to the menus here, again we have all of our options, for example, changing channel, closing the tabs, bringing up the pop-up, and of course we can use our emotes as well. So much better experience in my opinion. Now the only thing here is that if you change the window size or go into theater mode, for example, Chatterino can get bugged out really bad, and sometimes the window will get stuck to the point where you're just going to have to restart Chatterino itself. So it can be a little buggy, so just be warned about that. So I'll close this, and we'll close the window here. And that is a look at Chatterino for Windows.